My friends, Brian writes in. He says he has American funds and should he move them to Vanguard? And let me just read you from his email here. He goes, "Hey Josh, I watch many of your videos and enjoy learning about many topics. I recall you calling some particular American funds good. I also have heard you share the good news of index funds. I have all my Roth and American funds, but I'm now thinking of moving all to Vanguard. What are your thoughts? Will I have some penalty from American Funds / Rain James for moving my assets?" All right. Thanks for the email, Brian. All right. So a couple things going on here is that at least it used to be when I was a broker, the biggest by far seller of American funds was Ed Jones. All right, Edward Jones. So Ed Jones would put you in A shares, and that way you would already pay the commission. And if in my opinion, it made no sense whatsoever because American funds are A, they're fantastic. B, if you paid the front end commission already, it does you no good to move those funds to Vanguard just because American funds are fantastic. I mean, if you look at American funds versus their competitors, I mean, they're just stellar across the board. They're lower on the fee structure by far than historical or a typical mutual fund. The way they do portfolio management is interesting. I'll give you the example. So the Investment Company of America, the ICA, they have like 6 or 7 different portfolio managers. Each has their own task to run that slice of the portfolio. So it's freaking awesome. So I'm a huge fan. You got you got low fee, you got great track record performance. On top of that, you've already paid the commission. I'm a huge fan of that. That's with Ed Jones, and so I tell people all the time, if Ed Jones is fantastic, if they just stay the stockbroker route as opposed to trying to be fee-based financial advisors, just don't do that. Stay the stockbroker, put people in American funds, their stocks, and buy individual bonds. People, I just bonds for people for their through the IRAs or whatever. I got no qualm, or municipals, individual bonds. I got no qualm with that at all. But it seems like everybody and their mom realizes the big money lays on fee-based accounts because they're what's called annuitizing their book, i.e., they're going to charge you one or some guy on my video last night said American funds, or not American funds, Ed Jones was going to charge him 1.1. Screw that, man. It just that's nuts. So if you want to pay Ed Jones, and I'll get into Raymond James here in just a second, let's say 2.5% front end to get a good portfolio of 4 or 5 American funds and never pay another commission, man, you're going to be in a good place without question. But now Ed Jones is going the route of everybody else. They see the writing on the wall that if we get 2.5% on $100,000, that's $2,500 one time. Now they do get a small trail called 25 basis points as a 12B1 fee, but still, 25 basis points on $100,000. What's that? $250 a year. That's not much. So they say, whoa, what we could do is sacrifice the initial $2,500 commission and instead get a 1.1% fee, which will give us $1,100 a year. So literally within the 2.5 years, we're going to be right back to where we were if we paid the 1% the commission up front. But after that, it's just money. In 10 years from now, this guy will pay upwards of $20,000 depending on how the account grows, whereas before he only paid maybe $4,000 all in. And that's the issue. And so everyone sees this and they say, well, assets under management gives us more that we're on the same side of the table as you, because if your account goes down, my fees go down, blah, blah, blah. Just don't fall for that stuff. And then if you go to fiduciary, we're a fiduciary. We're on the same side of the table as you. If your account goes down, we lose money too. In fact, if you see the Fisher Investments commercials that they advertise all the time, and look, I don't watch any TV, so I only see it when my kids or my wife is watching the news. But if you see the Fisher, they say, we are on the same side of the table as opposed to these commission guys over there. And everyone's going this route. And I tell you right now, I'd much rather you be with a commission broker who can sell you stuff for a commission and be done with it. Because those long-term fees are just horrible. Now, with Raymond James, though, the issue is I have a sneaky suspicion that you did not pay a front-end commission. All right, I have a sneaky suspicion you are paying fees because Raymond James, are they a broker-dealer? I can't remember. Can you be an RIA at Raymond James? I just can't recall. But anyway, an RIA, registered investment advisor, they're the fiduciaries that everyone says, fiduciary, we're holier than thou. Whereas Ed Jones is a broker-dealer, so they are not fiduciaries. They literally can sell products for commission. But I can't remember if RIA Raymond James is. I just don't recall. I know they have a broker-dealer, but I don't know if they also have an RIA as well. And this is inside baseball. Don't sweat it. All right, but if you're at Raymond James and you haven't paid a front end commission and now you're just paying a 1% fee, then yeah, I would move. It's not American funds that's the issue. It's Raymond James, the fee structure. Does that make sense? So Raymond James, the way they're charging a fee is what I don't like. I do like American funds. I'm a huge fan of American funds. If you already paid the front end commission, hell, Brian, keep them without question. The thing you got to concern yourself with is as these guys get, I'm telling you, we all know how this works with the business. You run your monthly commission report towards the end of the month. You say, ooh, I'm not very high in my fees, so I need to call my customers and start generating some commissional transactions. We know this to happen. The idea that anyone would say that doesn't happen, it happens all the time. And I guarantee it still does. You run on the 28th of March, you run your commission report, and it'll give you all of your revenue that you've generated for that month, and that's what's going to pay out in the first week of April. And if you're normally making $8,000 a month, and now you're only at $4,000 a month, you're like, ooh, I better do something to get some higher, to get some revenue. I'm telling you, man. So you pick up the phone, you start looking at people who got cash. You say, hey, Mrs. Jones, we should put you into this account. I'm just telling you, this is the issue with a commission-based salesperson in the industry, is that's what they do. They look at their commissions reports. They say it's not as high as where they like it for it to be, or actually where they need it to be. They'll start creating a story in order to sell you something so they can generate commissions. I get that 100%. Sorry about the cough. Just ate some almonds and one's sitting on my tongue, on the back of my throat. The RIA world, though, because they're getting a fee, I gotta pause it for a second. The RIA world, because they already know what their fee is, they don't have any reason to call you and sell your products to kind of go over your account with you, which leads to a different problem, which I talk about all the time. It's called reverse churning. They have no need to call you other than the regulatory environment. Did you call Ms. Jones to make sure she's still getting value for the 1.1% you're paying? Yeah, I talked to her. She said she's good. And there's no way to they document that as if I'm telling you. So this is reverse churning. Churning for commission-based guys. They call you at the end of the month. Hey, Ms. Jones, I got to sell you something. They don't say that, but that's what's happening. So I can generate a higher commission run. Reverse churning on their RIA world is you got $100,000 with a Raymond James guy, and he's like, look, that's paying me $1,100 a year. That's great, but that's not enough for me to call you. So I'll get my assistant to call you, and my assistant will call you and say, hey, Mrs. Jones, I'm Roger, John's assistant. John needs us to reach out to you to see if there's anything going on. And of course, Ms. Jones doesn't know. She's like, no, I'm good. Unless you guys see anything. I've heard this a million times too. Anything you need, Mrs. Jones? No, unless you see something. No, we're pretty good. Just stay the course. Okay. You document that. Roger, the assistant, documents he reached out to Mrs. Jones. Mrs. Jones said she was fine. No things change, and theoretically you're good to go with your regulators. So which one is worse? Well, the reverse churning is worse because you're going to end up paying a hell of a lot more than you will on the commission for sure. So going back to what my man Brian should do. If he's paying a fee-based account, yeah, he should move to Vanguard. I got no qualm with that in the least. Or move to my man Dustin over at Jazz Wealth, or I got other people I can refer you to for sure if you're not getting the service. But if it just comes to fees, yeah, you're not going to be Vanguard. But I don't want you to go. Is there going to be a fee that Raymond James charges you? Probably, if it's a don't let the door kick in the butt kind of thing. $150 account transfer fee, which infuriates me. But these firms get away with it. So they'll probably charge you that. I don't know if there'll be a sales charge if you have to liquidate the account. I just don't know. That'd be up to you and Raymond James, and you have to figure that out. But, it won't be, frankly, I just don't know. If it's an A share, there's no sales charge on the back end, so you don't have to worry about it. If it's a C share, there could be. I don't even know if they still offer C shares anymore. And again, this might be a little bit too much inside baseball. Or they do offer C shares. Usually there won't be a commission, a back-end sales charge if you've had the account for over a year. I don't even know if they offer B shares anymore. B shares, they used to have pretty significant back-end surrender charges. One of the reasons they don't offer them anymore is because everyone in the advisory industry said B shares are evil. They're too high. Man, B shares are great. Because you didn't pay anything on the front end as a commission, and because there is a significant surrender charge, if you sold it within 7 years, it kept you from moving from point A to point B. It kept you from being churned. I'm telling you, B shares are fantastic. Everyone hated them, at least the holier than now guys, because said, oh, you're not disclosing the commission, the expenses are too high. I was like, bull crap, man. The B shares are good. It kept you from being reverse churned. It kept you from being moved around from commission to commission, like some of these brokers will do for sure. And yet, yeah, they just got the SEC came down on them, like a freaking hammer, and I don't even think they offer them anymore, which is too bad. It actually infuriates me. C shares are okay because you don't pay any front end commission. You pay 1% on top of the fee, so the fees are a little bit higher for the mutual fund than the A shares because you're not paying front end commission. And C shares convert after 10 years automatically to A shares, where the fees get reduced quite a bit. So I'm a fan of C shares for sure. And these are again done by brokers. Because a C share converts to an A share, if you have a C share and you've been in it for 4 or 5 years and someone calls you trying to churn you, you'd have to say, why would I want to convert this C share? We only have 5 more years before it becomes an A share, and my fees are ridiculously reduced at that point to a new C share. Why would I want to do that? Or even worse, why would I want to take it from a C share into an asset-based AUM, assets under management fee? And that actually, maybe I'll do another video on that. Maybe I'll do another video on things to look out for in financial advisors. Yeah, because that's another thing that just infuriates me. And again, the SEC and the state regulators all there to protect, Mrs. Jones, and all this stuff just is just nuts, man. Just nuts. Sorry. Anyway, so my man Brian, it's not the American funds that we're trying to avoid. It's the fee structure that we're trying to avoid. If you're paying an asset-based fee, what's called an assets under management, a fee-based account, yeah, move to Vanguard, be done with it. If you've already paid the commission on the front end, man, keep it there and you're going to be good to go. So long-winded answer to a pretty quick question. Hope this helps. All right, well, so don't forget, my friends, smash and subscribe, share, and if you got comments, put them down below. Thanks now.